It reminds me of back in the 70s when I first went on television, you know, and I kept preaching against welfare. I said, welfare has its place, but don't make it a resting place. No one has a right to be a parasite. That's why I never could be a black leader. And every once in a while when I'm on some talk show, they'll slip and call me a black preacher. I said, no, green. So there was this reporter that went down to the FCC in Washington to try to get me off of radio and television. And he camped around my church about 30 days. He even went to choir rehearsal. Finally, they decided they would let him come in and have an interview with me. And oh, he had a thick sheet of notes. Sat down and looked up at me. Boy, he thought he had the goods on me. He said, Reverend, I found so many bank accounts in your name. I looked at him and smiled. I said, son, did you think that one bank could hold all of my money? And I need to pass this on to you. At our church, we have Business of Living that teaches you some of these things. But I need to pass this on to you right now, because the Spirit is telling me here right now that within the next 12 months, some of you are going to need a number of other banks to put your money in. Because you should not put more than 100,000 in any one. You're going to need more than one bank. As a matter of fact, you're going to have to start handling your money a different way. That's why, again, we have the Business of Living at our church in New York. And we have investment brokers and bankers and financial planners. You see, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I'm on the gift of money. Some people say, well, Reverend Ike, you know what? They mostly wanted us to think, and we knew no better, that you don't need those money experts. Now, why do I need to talk to an investment counselor? I don't have any money, no, and he ain't going to get none either. Let me say this. There is something magnetic about a plan. Say that.
There is something magnetic about a plan.
Say it again.
There is something magnetic about a plan.
A plan has magnetic power. Let's hear it.
A plan has magnetic power.
To draw whatever you plan for.
To draw whatever you plan for.
Don't forget that. Because one of the things I want you to do, sitting right there in your seat and as you leave this seminar, is to start planning. Let me hear you say planning. You see, even if you don't have physically any money, start what? Planning. By the way, where are all my tapes? It ought to be. Put these down here, son. And bring me my study guide here. All right, this is the one I had last night because I had it marked up. I hope it is. All right, I need that one. There is a chapter in my study guide titled The Mental Equivalent. Say that.
The mental equivalent.
Say it twice more.
The mental equivalent.
Again.
The mental equivalent.
What does that mean? That means that whatever you want, you have to have the mental equivalent of it first. And this is what Reverend Ike says, so I know it's right. Reverend Ike says, the first place that you get anything is in your mind. Say that 3 times.
The first place you get anything is in your mind. The first place you get anything is in your mind. The first place you get anything is in your mind.
So whatever you want, first get it where? All right, now I have a Bible riddle for you on that. Notice what Jesus says. To him that hath, it shall be given, and he shall have more abundantly. Now here's the riddle. You can only have what you already have. You can only get what you already have. Now you see, the sociologists don't understand this. I want to quote Jesus. By the way, I remember the first time I was in Memphis and they interviewed me and I said, you know, Jesus was a capitalist. And they put it in the headlines Monday morning. Reverend Ike says Jesus was a capitalist. But he was. Listen. To him that hath, it shall be given, and he shall have more abundantly. But to him that hath not, it shall be taken away, even that which he hath. Man, what the sociologists would do with him today and those bleeding hearts. But what he's trying to tell us is that you can only have more of what you have. It's that same thing that the sociologists say is so terrible. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. But that's the law. The law is I can only have more of that which I am. Why do the poor get poorer? Because they have poverty in their minds. Poverty in the mind makes poverty in the behind. What you have in your mind comes behind. Let's hear it. That's a part of that mystic statement that God made to Moses. Moses, hide yourself in the cleft of the rock. I'm going to pass by. You're not going to see my face, but you'll see my hinder parts. Why you're not going to see my face? Because my face represents thought. You do not physically see thought, but you see what comes behind thought. Again, that's what Jesus meant when he says, when you pray, go into your secret closet and pray to your Father in secret. And your Father that sees in secret will reward you openly. You see, the manifestation is God's behind. That'll catch up with you next week. Moses, hide yourself in the cleft of the rock. What is the cleft of the rock? The consciousness of unshakable, unmovable divine principle. Hide yourself in it. You don't have to argue with anybody about it. You don't have to get upset about what other people say and what other people think. Hide in the rock. Say that. Hide in the rock. And you see, that's what you're here for this week. To learn more about these unmovable principles of God's Word and God's nature. Hide yourself in it. Don't spend a lot of time talking on the phone listening to foolishness. I think I told you yesterday, change your phone number. Move somewhere else and give some of them relatives only your post office box address. Send them a Christmas card. Somebody's going to do that. Thank God. Say those two words. Again. The third time.